Right guys, quick little down and dirty video. I was sorting out my tackle box. I put up a couple of pictures on my Instagram and I had a couple of messages going, Jason, what is that Spyderco knife you've got in your box? That you know, I know, funny enough, I only had it about a week. I put it in the box about a week ago. This is the latest offering from Spyderco in the UKPK range. Unless you don't know, UKPK range is a range of knives that are UK friendly. They're non-locking, they're just old school walk and talk, a bit like your granddad knife you had. And it's just very simple and there's less here wrong. So I've got lock knives, but I quite like these. I quite like the simplicity of them. Right, so just to let you know, this is the UKPK. This is the one in the Salt range. The Salt range by Spyderco are a range of knives in two steels that they use for if you're in and around water, because they are, well, the two steels are LC200N and H1. Now H1 is pretty much an unrustable, uncorrosive steel. It's not the best steel in the world, but it is, for all intents and purposes, you just can't rust it. You know, it's just basically the only part on it I ever have heard of getting a little bit of corrosion is where they stamp in the H1 on the blade, and they use I think it's a phosphorus or a brass stamp. It gets a little bit of discolouring in there, but they just don't rust. Okay, this one is in the LC200N, which is also, it's a European steel. It's also called what's it, ZFINIT. That's the other name for it. It was manufactured in Europe and used by NASA for ball bearings and other applications where it had to be in a, you know, what's the word, hostile environment that would corrode metals. So let's just get on with the knife, I guess. So basically it's a small knife. That's one of the reasons I like it. As you know, if you watch this channel, I do have big knives, but this will just fit in my tackle box. It's a LC200N is practically rust resistant, whereas H1 is just, let's call it, it is just rust resistant. But this one is highly resistant to corrosion. Okay, it's small, it's bright yellow, so I won't lose it. That's one of the other reasons I like the Salt knives. So they do come in like a lime green now, that's quite funky. And just realised it actually matches the fishing line on my bait caster and my fixed spool spinning reel. And before anyone goes, oh, yellow line, the fish will see yellow line, I use a fluorocarbon leader. They don't see that. Right, so let's open this up. So as you see, I'm just doing this on my phone, so it's not the best. So it's just the walk and talk. It's got a halfway stop like a traditional folding knife, and then out. You will also notice that I bought, this is my first ever serrated Spyderco. That's the reason I chose the serrated, the spider teeth, is because I'm just going to chuck it in the box and I just don't want to have to sharpen it, and the serrations will stay working sharp longer. And I can sharpen, I quite enjoy sharpen, but this knife is just going to be chucked in the tackle box and used for cutting line, maybe gutting the occasional fish. I have gutted a trout with this. It's dead easy, you only use that much of a blade to gut a trout anyway, so it's plenty big enough for that. It's incredibly comfortable in the hand. You can really, I mean, I've got the regular non LC200N steel UKPK as well. I've also got an Urban, very similar knife, very similar ergos, and this is fantastic the way it fits in your hand. You've got the nice little choil there, you've got a nice little thumb ramp there, and you can cut. You can turn it over and the opposite fits really nicely if you're like, so you're opening up a fish. It's just really great. LC200N. Told you it doesn't rust very much. It's also tough, like most ball bearing steels. It's tough. It can take a bit of a bashing. It's pretty resistant to torque as well. For twisting and prying, it's pretty. Not that you should use a knife for that, guys, but it's pretty resistant for that. So if you found you had something, I don't know, jammed and you were trying to get it out, it would probably be okay. Okay, not saying use your knife for that. That's what a multi-tool or screwdriver's for, but hey, we all do things we shouldn't do. I'm pretty sure now most of these I was reading most LC200N is hardened to about 58-61 Rockwell. I don't know what Spyderco does that to theirs, but I'm going to guess it's in the upper 50s, lower 60s. Pros and cons. It's not that cheap. It's about $100, I think, in the States, and it's about 100 and something pounds here in the UK. The serrations are a bit of a pain to sharpen when they eventually do go blunt, but I will just find someone on the Spyderco Facebook page that will do it for me, so I'm not that fussed. And I pretty much think I'm just going to get months of use out of this knife for the amount of fishing and stuff I do. The other thing that the serrations are good for is if you have to cut ropes and things, and if I'm fishing on the kayak or on a boat, I might have to cut ropes to tie boats off and stuff, and that's pretty handy. You do have like a little bit, I mean, let's call it what it is, 1/2 inch, 3/8 of non-serrated bit, but it's not really that much. But it is enough to do little cutting tasks. So, yeah, basically, this is the interesting thing about the salt. Unlike, say, my Spyderco Lightweight, which the FRN has like the volcano dimpling, this just has a traditional cross patching, which is really nice. I really like it, and it is plenty grippy, as you would need with something that is destined to be used on the sea or on the rivers or around lakes, ponds, fishing. Yeah, I pretty much think this is one of the best knives I've ever bought, actually. From a few, is it great looking? I think the yellow looks okay. It's not the best looking knife in the world, you know. I've got nicer looking knives. I've got my favourite being I've got a, let me get it, put that there a second. Spyderco Nalaka. This is a good looking knife. See, I like the way this looks, and I love the way it works. Yeah, this is if I'm going camping and sort of that kind of thing. I've done loads of fishing with this knife, to be honest, but I did patina the blade to stop it rusting. Even though it was stainless steel, it's stainless, not nothing. It's not stained at all. Whereas this one is, for all intents and purposes, non-staining. Okay, so I like the way it performs, therefore I like the way it looks, because the function overrides the looks. All the other hardware you see here is treated with a coating to stop it rusting. It isn't, which I thought was quite strange, it isn't also in the same as the blade steel, which would have made more sense, I think, but I don't think it's going to rust. It is the clip one, which, as we all know, I'm going to be controversial here, is the best clip. You know, it's deepest, it's really nice, it's light, it works. I appreciate it's not the best looking clip, but it is from function. And once again, this knife is all about the function. So, for those of you who asked me, this is the Spyderco UKPK. God, try saying that with a few beers. I haven't, but I will be. And this model is in the LC200N. It comes. Okay, guys, we're back in the room. Phone battery died. Of course it did. Right, so I think I'll just wrap up now by saying I really like this knife. Do I think it's worth money? Absolutely. It's worth money just to throw in your toolbox and know that you're always going to have a rust-free, sharp, good knife in your toolbox when you need it. You know, for if you've like, oh, I forgot my usual filleting knife, and then this can come into play. Or you've just got to make some little cuts and oh, I forgot my line cutter. Oh, I forgot my scissors. Just having a functional tool like this. I think the other thing it will be pretty good for, it weighs nothing, and I mean nothing. This thing weighs absolutely nothing. So if you want a knife and you want to push, you go jogging or you go swimming, perfect. Sweat won't rust this. Obviously swimming won't rust this. It's incredibly light to go in a pair of jogging pants pockets, and the sweat from your running won't damage it. As for sharpness, I know this is a serrated knife, but just to show you, here we go, on camera, it's a Spyderco. It's incredibly sharp. They come out of the factory pretty sharp. I think I've had one Spyderco in a decade that came not quite sharp, but I dropped it and it was sharp. So to answer the questions I had on Instagram, do I think it's worth it? Yeah, sure I do. I bought mine in from Henny Haynes here in the UK. I don't know if they've got any in stock. I know they sold out pretty quick. in all the blade steels. This is an incredibly popular model, and yeah, I recommend it. I mean, who am I? I'm just a guy that I like to go to the woods. I like to go fishing. I do a lot of fishing. I've been lucky enough to fish in, in Scandinavia, in the Netherlands, here in the UK, and I just think it's going to be a good little piece of kit to add in with my. It's going to be as much part of my fishing tackle as my spinning reel or my bait caster or my fishing rod. Everyone needs a good knife if they're on the water. I mean, heaven forbid you have to cut a rope that's tangling you up as you fall in. That's the other reason I went for the serrations. Is I honestly think that, like, if something does happen and I have to cut something free, this will do a better job. Okay. Last thing I'll talk about is, yeah, it's not locking. They do locking ones. Not this model, but they do a whole range of salt knives in the H1 and the LC200N. And they are locking. I just like this one because it was the smallest one. There is just one smaller that I did used to have, but I gave it away. The Dragonfly in H1. But the blade was only about that long. It was like a plain edge. Personally, it wasn't for me. This is just a tiny bit bigger, but still a very, very, very small, compact, useful knife. Could I EDC this? Absolutely. Most of the stuff I do at work, like cutting boxes, opening boxes, cutting the plastic banding off of packaging, this could easily do it. It's small, it's discreet. If you get one of the black handled ones, I'm thinking in one of the other steels, it's discreet. This thing kind of shouts, but that's the other thing. I quite like the bright yellow, so I'm not going to lose it either. I'm not going to leave it down the river or on the boat, or if I do drop it in the shallow water, there is a chance I might find it. Yeah, so hope that's helped the people that asked me, and I hope it's helped a few of you if you just tuned in here. The Spyderco UKPK, and this one is in the LC200N. Thanks, guys.